Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So this channel is basically about narcissism, but I also want to go into the full depth of our emotional, mental health and how that affects us. Some of the abuse we've gone through can cause other issues within us. So not only depression, anxiety, CPTSD, sometimes people struggle with eating disorders. There's a whole vast variety of them. And this is in response to a viewer who had said because of the abuse, they started dealing with bulimia. Where does all this come from? Why do we change? Where does eating disorders develop from? And it sometimes can creep up on an individual. Sometimes it's gradual, sometimes suddenly. So I'd like to address this with the viewer, and if this helps you, because an eating order, a disorder often starts even before they know that their relationship with food has really started to affect their lives. It can change over time, whether it's starving ourselves into another form of distress, such as overeating. So we have to be careful of how we take care of our bodies. And I'll discuss some of the after effects if you have an eating disorder, how to recover. There is hope, but we have to get to the root of the problem. A lot of things in our life, whether it's our emotional relationship or our response to it, our triggers. Think about what's triggering, whether it's your emotions, whether it's your desire to eat or not eat. Where is the root of the problem? Are you trying to please somebody else? Are you trying to control certain aspects? Are you just giving up and it's just a way of showing like outwardly that you're giving up? So what exactly is an eating disorder? So some people have odd eating habits, but a true eating disorder is extreme shape and weight control behavior. So if you're trying to modify your weight, it can be caused by excessive exercise, trying to lose weight, trying to have the perfect body, trying to fit in, or trying not to gain weight, because it's easier to eat and then throw up as opposed to dieting for some people, especially when they have that distress eating, the eating that you do because it's caused by stress, emotional eating. And a lot of times too, if you're doing that, it's higher calorie food. So you start to feel guilty about it. So most people with eating disorders tend to have a poor self-worth. And to explain that deeper, we're taking in what the narcissist has told us about us. Or if you're not in a narcissistic relationship, you're taking in what society is putting on you. You need to have your inner self-worth. And the narcissist loves to destroy it. Society, with the body shaming and the false images on Instagram, the filters that we use. The people might feel, going through a female menstrual cycle, you might put on a little bit of weight, so you freak out. And you're not realizing that that's just normal human biology. It's water weight that you're going to lose, but they get uncomfortable and they start maybe delving with anorexia nervosa. And that is where you're not eating enough calories to sustain yourself. And it's more extreme. It's not like you're just 50 calories low. You're using excessive food restrictions. Sometimes they might purge as well, and they can be visibly underweight. And we have to be careful. We need fat around our heart. And once you start eating away at the fat, eventually it's gonna move from just, coming off of your thighs or your belly or your underarms to around your heart. And once it takes away that fat, it's going to start eating at your heart muscles. So heart attacks can happen with anorexia nervosa. You got to be careful with bulimia nervosa. And bulimia is where you're throwing things up. You're eating too much. Usually these people who are bulimic are usually, they can be underweight, but they're usually average weight or heavy. And sometimes it's hard to spot them. The anorexics, you can see that they're very frail. But the bulimics you might not notice. Sometimes their teeth start to go bad. There's also something, I don't know if you guys have heard of diabulimia, and that's a variant of bulimia nervosa. Remember, bulimia is the purging. So what a person with diabulimia, what they do is they will have type 1 diabetes, which is the diabetes you usually get in childhood, and they don't take their insulin. They'll withhold insulin injections. And those injections are needed so the cells can utilize blood glucose. So what they're doing is they're trying to control weight loss by not allowing that blood glucose to be converted. It can be dangerous, have long-term side effects, because blood sugar levels will be remaining too high. Now, my dad's diabetic, not with he overeats. Kind of like a stress eating. So yeah, it probably would, but he's diabetic and he's lost his leg. So you got to be real careful on maintaining that insulin level. It can cause our eyes. How does it go? Our eyes are soft on the inside when we're young or when we're born, and they get harder over time. My ex's dad actually lost his eyesight because the inner portions of his eyes hardened, and then they had to go in and kind of like mush it up. So he did regain sight in one eye, but not the other. And that's all due to insulin. So that's not something to mess around. So it's not even just body image. It can affect possibly losing fingers, toes, legs. Keep that insulin where it needs to be. So orthorexia nervosa is one that begins as a way of healthy eating, and then it starts to become obsessive, even to the point when someone's quality of life is affected. Binge eating disorder or compulsive overeating is pretty much what this one person is doing. They are stress eating because of the comments from the narcissist, and then they're purging. So the binge eating is without purging. The bulimia is sometimes throwing up little things, even just 50 calories. They're just too afraid. They want to control something. And the anorexic, the one who eats minimally, they're trying to control their weight. The bulimic is trying to control not gaining weight. The diabulimia, that's trying to control not gaining weight, or even just a control over not wanting to give in to the diabetes and have to admit to it. You know, can be a denial thing too. So the orthorexia, like I said, that one starts out healthy, but then it becomes obsessive. So you can go on a healthy diet of, you know, salads, but then if that's, you know, all you eat, sometimes you're missing out on nutrients that you need. So also that binge eating can sometimes get out of control. You're starting to stretch your stomach muscles. So now you're going to start to feel hungrier more often. And it's like an impulse where you just almost, it's like a defiance. Like, I'm going to get away with this. Like, we felt something bad was put on us. And so we want control. So we're like, we're going to break a rule. As like a defense, like trying to flip it. We're the good people, but now we got crapped on, so we're gonna one up them or whatever. So there's also avoidant and restrictive feeding disorders. Now this one, they're not really concerned about the shape and weight. They are normally super picky eaters. They even have fears of eating. Sometimes it could be fears about choking, or that could have been from early childhood trauma. And these usually there's something called FEDNEC, and that's feeding and eating disorders not elsewhere categorized. So usually children sometimes don't want to eat as much as we want them to. We have a dinner ready for them and they're not hungry. Little things like that, they'll probably outgrow. Double check if they're on medications. Maybe there's something wrong with their medication. Also, some of these are contraindications of different medications. So anorexia can happen from medications, maybe like chemotherapy or certain other ones. But anorexia nervosa, their nervosa deals with your brain. Like it's a decision we make, not a reaction to a medication. But you can get anorexic from medication. But the nervosa is in reaction to some kind of trigger that we have, whether it was abuse or a trauma that we went through. And there's also the night eating syndrome. So, you know, that's when you're binge eating at night. Some people have even been known to like sleepwalk and go get some food. So this dietary chaos will affect brain chemicals that are associated with the mood and the well-being. But these eating disorders carry serious health risks. It affects digestion, hormones, heart, liver, brain function, heightened risk of miscarriage or infertility due to damaging females with our eggs and stuff. Anorexia has a high death rate, and the rates of suicide with people with anorexia and bulimia are much higher than we'd expect when you do age for age comparisons with your normal eaters. And so so it says association is not a cause. What does it mean? It means there's no single cause for any particular eating disorder. It's not like there's some virus out there. And a lot of people will look for causes in childhood experiences or traumas. But sometimes, like my viewer, she wanted to be loved by her abuser. And she's trying to control something, because our narcissists take away all our control. And a lot of times, somebody with an eating disorder might be more sensitive, more prone to anxiety, high standards, yet poor self-confidence. So they care about image. They care about image, but they don't feel that they are meeting that expectation. And so they're trying to struggle to meet that expectation. And sometimes what causes it, people often have struggled to cope. They haven't had help or support from other people. Just the buildup of stress. Life can be difficult. Sometimes if you're breaking up with a narcissist, you might have more stress now, whether you gave up your financial stability to raise the kids so they could go work, or narcissists love to destroy our jobs. Mine has messed with my jobs too. And so now we're like, how are we going to afford this? How are we going to raise our kids? Or how are we going to put a roof over our heads or put food on the table? So plain and simple, eating disorders are a response to stress, and they don't just happen. They're triggered into life. And they're most often at a time of stress. It could be when, parents divorce, or changes at school, or like my viewer, changes in the relationship, more pressures or more depression of wanting to meet what the narcissist expects of us. And remember, a lot of times they're hypocritical. They don't always keep up on their bodies, but we feel unwanted sometimes. And that's either to please them or to just kind of escape, feel like we have control over something. So deep inside, there's often an exaggerated need for control in people with eating disorders, not just of feelings, but also of how other people feel about themselves. So they're trying to satisfy themselves, but they're also trying to have other people feel that they're worthy. And people lacking these good strategies to manage their own feelings, who also had this poor self-confidence, they start having problems getting their needs met in relationships. And then this adds to the stress. And it's just a downward spiral, because they'll lose themselves in this eating disorder. It almost becomes an obsession sometimes. Also, they might want to hide it. So avoidant patterns of relating are more common in people with bulimia. And it suggests that in their early relationships, some needs for nurturing were not met. And they have a great deal of shame going on. And they feel that they're trying to expel these feelings, to get rid of feeling undeserved. And anorexia, what a lot of experts believe, is an expression of pain or deep sadness that they can't express in words. So if you see somebody, because you can physically see the effects of anorexia. And remember, there are people who are anorexic because of medications or other issues. But if it's anorexia nervosa related to the processing of emotions, it's often because they're really sad. And reach out to those people if you know them, because they're higher suicide rates with both anorexics and bulimics, because the stress is just consuming their life. And you know, a lot of people say that an eating disorder is a thief of souls. It steals the positive aspects of someone's personality and uses these for its own survival. So not only do we go through this crap with a narcissist, if you're dealing with eating disorders, you know, they've labeled it a thief of souls. So our narcissist took our soul. Now our eating disorder is flourishing, draining us more from our physical, from our health, from our emotions. It starts off balancing the hormones, and it starts to become a habit, an obsession. So to my viewer, and everybody's struggling with this. We have to get to the trigger, and we have to not fill it with food, or not fill it with seeing the scale go down. We have to fill it with believing in ourselves, and realizing, even if other people don't think we're worth it, that we know we are, and we fight against their opinions. Believe in yourself, work on yourself to be the best that you can be. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And staying in a toxic relationship tears you down. So even if you're working on yourself, you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get myself together. Today, I'm going to shower. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do my hair and my makeup, or whatever you do, even my nails, or just trim your beard, or whatever it is you're going to do to feel good about yourself. And you have this positive energy and a positive state of mind. And then your narcissist will say something that just drags you down. It's really hard to work on yourself when you stay in these relationships. That's why even after the breakup, after the discard, they'll do little jabs on you, and you have to, just like the water on the duck's back, you got to let it roll off. And it's easier said than done. It takes a lot of mental strength. And that's why, if you can utilize other people as third parties that aren't going to tolerate the way that the narcissist talks, because you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to be talked down to, or to have somebody comment on your weight all the time. Mine would know to the pound. It was weird. It was weird, because we had a baby together, and he would know to the pound. And I'm talking, I might gain 1 pound, lose 2 pounds, gain 3 pounds, because he would know every day, every day. And every day would fluctuate a little bit, whether you're bloated or, need to use a bathroom, whatever. But he would know. And I never even asked him. And it was so weird. It was to the number. And I'm like, how does he know this? We didn't have some special scale. There's times it wasn't that he saw me on the scale and oh, okay, I know 2A and said it, because I hadn't even weighed myself yet. And he nailed it every time. Hyper vigilant about my weight. And I'm not a big person. I was I told you guys I was wearing a size 7 when I was pregnant. The nurses didn't even know. They thought I already had my baby. They thought I was just a little bloated. Biggest my waist got was 32 inches. So there's no need for him to be so hyper vigilant because he had a big old beer belly, which I never said anything to him. That's a whole thing too. I said in a different video, like my belly button, you like really, you can't stick your finger in my belly button, but you could get, because he had that big old alcoholic beer belly. He was fit everywhere else, solid as a rock, worked out all the time. But it's like you're making fun of me or saying stuff about me, and it's just not necessary. They don't encourage you. They don't say, let's go for a walk or whatever. They just cut you down instead, and it's emotionally abusive. And the other thing too is when you try to set up boundaries. Now, if you're like me, I have to work on being assertive, because that's like, I just want things to go nicely. I'm not the type to talk back because I wasn't raised that way. On top of it is I get scared they're going to get madder. So we don't know how to handle it sometimes. And I was watching how people talk. I'm back at the school's second day back, and really just watching the effective teachers, how they communicate. My narc neighbor that I talk about, the directive comments, because he helped me work on my car. I paid him, but he helped me work on my car again. And so he's using this jack and he accidentally, there's a dent in my car. And I'm like, I said, yeah, I was wondering what that was. He's like, no, I didn't do that. And I'm like, yeah. And so he's in denial, and it's lined up. You can see it's exactly what happened. And that's the thing with narcissists, is they will lie. The evidence, it's like, dude, I just saw you do it. And when you're in a relationship, that's constant. So I didn't blow a spaz on him because like, why don't you? Because it's not that bad. But even if I said anything, it's not going to change it. That's why I won't date him. Like, I kind of have a crush on him, but I won't date him because of that, because of all the red flags. So limited contact with no expectations, or realizing you're going to come into contact with those things. And the dent's not that bad, but it's still like, I at least deserved an apology, because I'm very flexible. Like, if you guys came over and you were trying to help me with something and broke something, I get it. You know, things happen. I am not the type, I always told my daughter, as long as it's an accident, you're not in trouble. So as long as she didn't purposely do it. So he didn't purposely do it. He is trying to work on my car. Things happen. I wasn't going to charge him anything. That's me. You know, that's just me. That's who I am. Whether that's right or wrong, that's who I am. But narcissists will lie about it when the evidence is there. And to live a life like that would be too much to get into again. And we have to realize we're going to deal with that in life. He's working on my car. So whether I took it to a mechanic or, you know, they don't take accountability. And that can get stressful. That can get frustrating. You can, you know, depending on how bad that dent would have been, if it would have like really infuriated me, or if it was a brand new car, it's a little bit older and I want to get rid of it in 8 months anyways, but barely visible, but you know, it's sad. I want to see if I can get the exact quote that she did, because the man that this viewer was dealing with has really caused her some stress. And it's just starting to eat at her. And she's looking for some help. It says, "Thank you so much. I was bulimic. Narc used to tell me I had to lose weight when I was actually really healthy, maybe 10 pounds overweight. But he would examine me and made me feel so bad. Now I feel so hurt, emotionally hurt and out of control with my eating." And that's the thing, like mine was never happy with my weight. When I met him, I was a 13, got down to a size 5. And he's like, "See that picture there? That was my favorite picture of you, but your thighs are a little big." And it's like, well, I have to be thinner up top to get my legs normal. And he doesn't like me thin. So my body will never adjust the perfect way according to society, but it's like really nice compared, especially just having a baby. Like I had a flat stomach right after I had. Never happy. They're never happy. And that's what she's going through. 10 pounds overweight. Come on, guys. You know, um, it's sad. And like as you said, examining her. And I believe she means just like sizing her up, but that affects our sexual life too. Now we're going to be self-conscious. Maybe we won't initiate. And we're not trying to withhold sex, but now we're self-conscious and uncomfortable, and our reactions aren't normal because, you know, we want to be all fun and flirty, and we're like, yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe we could go upstairs and cuddle. And they're like, is this naughty time, or like we putting on extra layers? So it makes it really hard to function. So try to get control back of your life and realize that their opinion shouldn't matter than your own opinion. We all know what's we'd like to change about ourselves. So just like me, I'd rather be a little thinner up top so my lower half can be like thinner, because that's when I'm the most balanced. Because if I gain weight, I gain a little up top, but a lot down below. So it just makes me a lot heavy. So the balance is a little bit better when I'm thinner as opposed to when I'm heavier. We know what's best for us. So put your own opinion above your narcissist opinion. Screw what they think. What makes you happy? And as long as you're realistic, because I know some anorexics are not happy. They're thinking they need to be thinner, or bulimics who need to purge more. As long as your body image is realistic, not that body image dysmorphia, where you have a distorted image of reality. You know, if you're 80 pounds, you are not the fattest girl or guy on the beach. So we have to be realistic. Sometimes it does take intervention. It might take a counselor. There's NAMI, NAMI. You can search on the web for that. They have free support systems for emotional healing on things. Some of your workplaces might have that in alongside your health insurance. There might be some groups. Contact your local hospitals, but definitely take care of yourself, because eating disorders can be deadly. They can deplete you. They can damage your teeth, cause strokes. There's extra pressure. It's something to take care of. And remember, the best way I can put it, your opinion about yourself is more important than society's opinion about your body image, about what size you wear. And cut yourself a little bit of slack and just feel confident. And once you feel confident, the weight balances out. You'll be your healthy weight once you're confident. It's weird how it works. Once you're happy in yourself, as long as you're not drinking has like a lot of extra calories. But as long as you're eating healthy and making conscious decisions, you know, I'll only have 2 or 4 little Oreos as opposed to just binge eating. Also, be confident and happy in yourself. You're going to start to make more friends. So you're not going to just be sitting in front of the TV. Stay active. That can be a distraction from an eating disorder. But if you are anorexic, don't over exercise. Rebalance your eating habits. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, especially with the pressure of society or the people that we love. So just realize it's a response to stress. So get the sleep you need, eat healthy so your body is not under physical stress, and be prepared for work or for school so you're not stressing about that. And don't be stressed about being around people who are toxic. So if you guys are in school, I know schools have a lot of bullies, reach out to your guidance counselor. They might be able to help you, and hopefully you'll be able to tell them all the issues. But as a start, just tell them you're stressed. How can I relieve some of this stress? And hopefully you're able to tell them everything that's going on, because that's how they're going to get to the root of the problem. So big hugs to you guys. Topic requests are welcome. And narcissists affect more than just our relationship. They affect our mind and what we do with it. So take your power back.